This is the Chili OOLER sleep system, and this is the 8 Sleep Pod, two very awesome hydro-powered gadgets that actively heat and cool your mattress, which could forever change the way you sleep. What's up guys, I'm Ben from AuthenTech, and today I'll be doing a deep dive comparison on both of these sleep systems, covering all the pros and cons of each and which one might be the perfect fit for you. Huge thanks to each company for sending me the units to review. However, no monetary compensation was received from either for this video, so I'll remain as impartial as possible. Now, I get really excited for both of these products because they've changed the way my wife and I sleep at night. To never again wake up too hot or uncomfortable, these are game changers, and I have a feeling this industry is about to blow up. They each work kind of the same way. Each cover has a channel of water pipes, and the hub control unit circulates warm or cold water throughout these grids, which help regulate your bed temps. Do you have trouble sleeping at night because it's too hot or too cold? Maybe your significant other likes the bed a different temperature than you? Wherever I look, TV commercials and Instagram ads, it seems everyone's trying to compete in this cooling sleep technology, but most of it seems kind of gimmicky with cooling blankets or whatever, but unless it's actively cooling you with circulating water or air, it could only do so much. Every human on this planet spends about 1/3 of your entire life sleeping, so doesn't it make sense to spend a little bit extra money where we spend so much time? Let's start with the pricing, as that's always a very key detail when comparing products, and it sort of sets the expectations of features in context to the price tag. The OOLER is the more affordable unit, and it's sold in different bed sizes with either single or dual zones. The OOLER includes the pad and the control unit. 2 control units are needed if you want dual zone control for you and your spouse. The 8 pod takes a slightly different approach. It includes the pad, a single control unit for dual zone control, and a mattress all included together. The pod is currently not sold without the mattress. One major reason why is the cover literally zips directly to the mattress 360 around. I'll cover more on this later, but this is actually a pretty big feature and important detail. It keeps it perfectly taut without bunching, which is really nice. Oh, and as always, all the links for more info will be down below. The OOLER system for my king size bed with dual control for my wife and I is currently at $1,500. The 8 pod for a king bed, and no matter the size, it comes with dual zone control. It's priced at $2,435. Plus this mandatory 1-year subscription for $60 to their 8+ advanced trends and analytics. I'm not a fan that this is a paid feature. I think when you're investing this much money, this stuff should be free, but nonetheless, out the door, that's about $2,500. Use my coupon code AuthenTech at checkout, receive $150 off, brings it down to around $2,345. All in all, that's about $800 more for the pod, and that's a fair bit of moolah. However, I actually think it's worth spending that extra money for certain people. Let me explain why. Each system gets a brownie point for fast and easy setup. The 8 mattress came rolled up in a vacuum sealed bag, plus the smart pad in a separate box. After unrolling the mattress, watching it expand, the high density foam has this medium firmness, which is very comfortable. The pod is well designed, one single unit to circulate water to both sides of the bed. The cover zips onto the mattress, which again keeps it perfectly taut without bunching under the sheets, and it's a key detail for comfort and data tracking. More on that later. The water lines click into the hub, and then the app guides you through the rest. It's all beautifully designed, very minimal and modern. For the OOLER, while we had to strip down the bed because we've been sleeping on the 8 pod for almost 3 months now, I actually already covered some of it in my smart bedroom video a few months back. It's given us a lot of time to thoroughly test it out. The OOLER setup is easy. Basically lay out the hydronic pad. There's these elastic straps on each corner to wrap around your mattress. And then the connection tubes can be placed at the head or the foot of the mattress. Same with the pod. Step 2, connect the tubing, then plug in the power. You fill the unit with water and power on, and then it'll begin to circulate the water into the pad. There's an LCD display that shows your temperature controls. Also, a little light will turn on if or when the unit wants you to fill it up with more water. We did this 2 times, one for each control unit that's placed on each side of the bed. Last step is to download their app and pair the unit with your device. This brings me to my very first wish or con to the OOLER system. That wireless connection is via Bluetooth, not Wi-Fi like the 8-pod uses. I feel Wi-Fi is better for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's always connected to your home network, thus the reliability of connection is better. Whether you're at home or away, you can always pull up the app, control the pod, modify your schedules, and more. With the OOLER's Bluetooth, anytime your phone walks away from the control unit, well, it's disconnected. You can't control it while away. And I found both my iPhone and Android phones had periodic issues with reconnecting when I re-entered the room. To force reconnection, you hold down the power button for a few seconds, the Bluetooth icon will appear, and then you can force connect. For some people, once you have your temperatures and schedule dialed in, well, this might not be a big deal since you won't need to jump into the app very often. So adversely, a con for the pod's Wi-Fi, if for some reason your Wi-Fi goes down, well then there's no physical buttons to control the pod. That's a pro to the cooler. I actually like those physical buttons that they added onto the control unit. It's an easy way to increase or decrease the temperatures of each side, and it's sort of like a backup system. As for the design of each control unit, I like how the 8 is a single hub for dual zone control, and its slim profile allows me to slide it behind my bedside table. As for the OOLER, I don't prefer 2 separate units for dual zones, but they aren't as tall in design, so depending on your bed height, you could possibly slide it under the bed or under your bedside table, as long as there's clear ventilation. One con to the OOLER, since we have the dual zone model, the water pipes connect right at the head placement of our pillows, and I might be in the minority with this, but I thought it was worth mentioning. I sometimes stretch my hands upward when I sleep, and I often feel the water connection point right there under my pillow. It sort of bulges upward a little bit. The pod has one connection point and it's centered middle top, and it connects more along the side of the cover, so I've never actually felt it while sleeping. One other small con to the OOLER, well, the app keeps asking me to fill up the control unit with water, even though the water level's only gone down 1 or 2 centimeters from the top. There's still a ton of water left inside the tank. Maybe it's an app bug, I'm not sure. While on the topic of the apps, I hands down prefer the 8 over the OOLER. It's much more refined, stable, and simple. Now the OOLER isn't terrible by any means, but it keeps crashing on my wife's Android, and the 8 just looks a tad better. It's a cleaner user interface, and both my wife and I much prefer the temperature adjustments on the 8. Now it's based on a -10 to +10 scale, with 0 being my perfect balanced number, and 0 is not turned off, but it's more like the yin-yang of my body temp. For me, my nightly smart temps usually start around +2 because I like to slip into a pre-warmed bed. Then it dynamically starts to cool down to 0, which is my mid-sleep number, and I find this a cool and balanced temperature while in deep sleep. And then it's slightly warming up to around a +1 in the morning time. Each of these transitions are gradual and natural to my sleep rhythms, and it truly gives me some really solid deep sleep through the night. And it always feels really good that the sheets are just slightly cool to the touch in the middle of the night. On the OOLER side, well, we can add schedules, but it's a little bit different. Instead, they offer specific temperature controls from 55 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. I found when I changed the temperatures, let's say from 75 to 78, well, I couldn't really feel the difference. The numbers need a more drastic jump to feel the change. Also due to this might be a big pro to the 8 and a con to the OOLER system, the water channels built into the topper are much more of a dense grid closer together on the 8, while the OOLER feels like it has a wider gap between each channel. This makes sense that we wouldn't feel those minor temperature changes as much on the OOLER versus the 8, we can feel the difference from one click to the next. Now, all this isn't to say you can't find your perfect temperatures on the OOLER. It just took me a little bit while longer to dial it in. Once I found those magic numbers for myself, I found I could still get some really deep and comfortable sleep each night, so it does the job very well. Also note, surface temperatures are much different than air temperatures, so I found I have to set the temps much hotter than you'd think. Also, key difference, I think even though the range is the same spec on the pod from 55 to 115 degrees, I believe with those greater water channel densities, well, the max hot and cold on the 8 just feels hotter and colder. For example, my wife will crank the OOLER to around 105 Fahrenheit when slipping into bed as a pre-warmer, which seems very hot, but then the same equivalent on the pod, her preheat setting is around +3, so it's not as high as you'd think. Now, some of this could be mind games, but I'm telling you, when I've set the pod to max hot and cold, they feel more drastic than the maximum hot and cold on the OOLER. While covering the schedules, the OOLER allows you to set the exact times of temperature changes while you're sleeping. And again, some people might like this precision of control. Example, at this exact time, change to this exact temperature, and on and on. With the pod, it takes a more hands-off approach, which I've come to like better. You set your approximate bedtime, the 3 key temperatures that you like when slipping into bed, middle of the night, and then in the morning, and then it'll auto-magically and gradually tweak the temps from there. I'm not positive, but looking at the OOLER schedule graph, it looks like the temperatures do not gradually shift through your sleep, but instead more drastic jumps. Also sort of confirming this, if you set your schedule for bedtime 9 p.m., well then the machine will not auto pre-warm the bed for this bedtime. Instead, it's at 9 p.m. when the machine will auto turn on and then start heating or cooling to your set temp. Same with wake up time, let's say 7 a.m., I believe that's when the machine will auto turn off. There's also this warm awake feature that will auto warm your bed to act like an alarm clock to help wake you up. I like that idea, but I sort of prefer the 8 pods implementation a bit better, which allows us to set the wake up time, temperature hot or cold, plus optional fade-in alarm sound. Anyway, a lot of these features could be tweaked and improved with future software updates down the road, but for now, I like the 8 app better. None of this is comparing one of the biggest features on the pod, and that's in-depth sleep tracking analytics with lots of detailed metrics like toss and turns, heart and respiratory rates, bed surface temperatures, and more. I actually find a lot of these fun and interesting insights, especially for long-term tracking, but to charge a fee for this subscription is pretty lame, and I wish it was free. On the OOLER side, it doesn't seem to have any sleep tracking sensors or data shared in the app. The only thing I found is under My Sleep tab. Each morning the app will ask you to rate your sleep that previous night, 1 through 5 stars, and that's it. It's quite the difference from the pod's detailed metrics. That's one big question I have for you guys. Do you think it's interesting to have all those sleep tracking tools, or is it an unneeded feature in your opinion? Leave me your thoughts or questions down in the comments. Let's quick cover loudness. The pod is more quiet on average over the OOLER. However, the OOLER allows you to set the fan speed, silent, regular, or boost. Two notes here. The boost mode is a nice option to have, and it's semi-loud, which acts as a great white noise machine if you like that while sleeping. If, however, you need it perfectly silent, well then I guess you can try silent mode, but you still might hear it. Secondly, I found the temperature changes to definitely be quicker on the OOLER when boost mode was activated, so it does work. As for the pod, well, they don't give you this control, but again, they take more of that hands-off approach, finding the balance for you. Another pro to the pod, I really like how firm and taut the cover is as it's zipped onto the mattress. This helps prevent bunching and shifting when placed under your sheet, and ultimately my wife and I prefer this comfort level over the OOLER. Now the OOLER cover almost feels like a pillow topper. It's a bit more fluffy and squishy, and some people might like that, but if you prefer a more firm mattress, you might not like it. With just 4 elastic straps to hold down the corner, there's definitely going to be a little bit of shifting and possible bunching under the sheets. If you can wrap it with a super tight fitted sheet, well, that might help you out. At least for us, we prefer the pod's cover that remains super taut. One pro to the OOLER, inside the control unit comes a UV lamp, which is supposed to help clean the water. This is a nice touch. On this note, I unfortunately can't speak to long-term durability. They each come with different warranties and return policies. I would hope each unit could last many, many years into the future, and hopefully there's no water clogging or leaking issues, but of course only time will tell how they each hold up. Another pro to the 8, it has smart home integrations like If This Then That, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, and more. Let me wrap up the final details and which product I think would be best for you. Whichever device you're thinking about, I can almost promise you that sleeping in a bed that actively heats and cools you throughout the night is going to give you better and deeper sleep than ever before. I could see these cooling beds becoming the new norm, kind of like memory foam mattresses changed the game a few years back. One big detail that I wasn't able to go deep dive on is how much money we might be saving every single month and year in energy savings. Lowering your thermostat bill by no longer needing to heat or AC your entire house at night, but instead just keep your bed at that perfect temperature. Let me know if you're interested in those energy saving numbers down in the comments. Maybe I'll post about it in a future video or on my Instagram. Make sure you're following me there. I think if it's time for you to update your mattress, well then it's a no-brainer and go with the 8 since you're getting a super comfortable mattress plus the premium pod technology. If you're one who's looking for the best of the best, powerful temperatures and high density water channels, a more refined and elegant option, set it and then forget it, magically auto adapting to your sleep rhythms and temperatures, well then hands down it's worth spending the extra money for the 8 pod, and hopefully that investment will last you long into the future. If you're someone who's a bit more budget conscious and maybe you already have a very nice or new mattress, you want no frills and you just want to sleep cool, or you want the precision of detailed scheduling of temperatures at specific times, and you don't think that pillow topper feeling and maybe the shifting will affect you, well then the OOLER might be your best bet. Or if you really want the cheapest cooling option, then maybe even consider the Chili Pad. That's their original sleep system that doesn't have any app control. It's old school remote controls to dial in your sleep temps. I don't even think it has scheduling built in. But this might be a good enough solution for some users out there, and their pricing is fairly affordable after the discounts that are currently going on. All links and promo codes will be down below. Let me know which one you think is the better investment, or if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll try my best to get back to you. If you like my tech videos, well, consider subscribing for more. If not, no worries. Until next time, let's live AuthenTech.